Good evening and welcome to the Westmoreland County Paranormal Podcast. We've been away for a little bit. It's been, I think it's been about a month and a half, 2 months or something like that. But now we're back, and what better way to start a new podcast? We have a very special guest tonight. Westmoreland County Paranormal and myself have been following him on Twitter for quite a while now. Very interesting stories. We have Project Wraith with us tonight, and we will be going to Long Beach, California to speak with him. Project Wraith, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How is everybody out there? I hope everybody's okay. For myself, ready to go, ready to prove to the world that other existence is real.
Excellent. So, like I said before, we've been following you on Twitter for quite a while now, and you have a pretty amazing story to share. You want to tell us first a little bit about Project Wraith?
Yeah, sure, not a problem. Project Wraith is just a project name. What it is a story behind my personal life, and it's been going on for the last 9 years. I first started hearing voices and what have you here at home. And so what I did is I started recording audio as I fell back to sleep after being woken up. What I recorded, you would not believe, men, women, children, other entities that I don't even think were human at any time. So many things to share with the world. I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from, man. The paranormal field, it's just a completely fascinating field, it's just so wild when you can have something speaking to you from the other side, not being able to see it or hear it with your ears. A lot of times you can't hear disembodied voices, of course, but when it comes down to it, it's like you ask a question and then boom, something's coming back to you on a recorder.
Not only that, but it's an intelligent response. It's not just words being uttered. It makes total sense of what you were asking. It is an actual response.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And so everything that you have going on, you stated to me earlier when we talked, you don't have a paranormal group per se. This is just your personal quest to...
Exactly. I'm not part of an organization or anything like that. I just know that 9 years ago I started hearing voices, and today we're having two-way intelligent conversation.
Okay. Now, this is, like you said, this is all going on in your home.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, did it start as soon? Did you move into the home and then it started, or were you living there for a while and then it started? Like, how did the process go?
I've been at this residence for 9 years. This is my second house that I've owned. Roughly about 3 years ago now is when I started hearing the voices and started seeing shadows and images moved across the hallway. Ever since then, like I said, I've started recording, trying to capture things that were I was hearing. And once I was able to record it, I figured if I can record it, I'm not going crazy. Like I said, the things that I do record, men, women, children, entities, sometimes I even think there's different types of entities from dimension because it's not English, it's not any type of language that's being spoken. It's a total off-the-wall series of sounds and what have you. If you're able to go on the site, the Wraith Project, I have more than enough of those recordings actually on there for the public to view.
Right, awesome. And you said this is the first time that you pretty much went public with, like a per se, a podcast or a radio show or anything like that. So, I'm really glad that you wanted to be on the WCP podcast and tell us all about your story, man. It's quite fascinating, actually.
I appreciate it. Most of the time when you speak on these subjects, the afterlife, ghosts, what have you, the paranormal, a lot of times it falls on deaf ears, which makes it very, very hard to talk about it and bring it out public.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what? I think if you were to talk about it, say 15 to 20 years ago, it would indefinitely fall on deaf ears. But now, it's like there's this paranormal craze going on that everybody loves. Everybody loves to hear spirits and ghosts talking from the side. So, it's more. I think. Well, I don't know about in California, but here in PA, it's very accepted. I can't even walk down the street without having somebody talk about a ghost story.
Wow.
But so now
That being said, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt you.
that's okay.
Let me speak about one thing, the afterlife.
Okay.
Now, what you said about people talking about it and it being out there, starting to come about in the public, what have you, that makes sense. Now, I don't know if you know, but the University of California in Riverside, that's UC Riverside,
Okay.
was actually granted $5 million in the last couple of weeks to find the afterlife. So
Wow.
somewhere, some way, somehow, somebody has given validity to that subject. And they're actually having the legitimate university look for this.
Absolutely. And that is so awesome. I'm so glad to hear that because I haven't heard anything like that yet before. But
Yeah, check it out. It's all over the internet right now. UC Riverside received a $5 million grant. And the guy spearheading the project is John Fisher. He's their UCR professor of philosophy. Sorry.
that's awesome, man. And and that just goes to show you. I mean, that if a reputable college is going to start being funded for paranormal research, that's great. But
Yeah.
the thing that worries me is, just about this, just getting a little off topic here. The thing that worries me just about it, just a little bit, is the fact that, you have a lot of teams out there giving a bad reputation to the paranormal field, and the few bad apples pretty much ruin the whole bunch. And it's like if you've had one bad experience with a paranormal group or paranormal research, it's going to carry over, and the whole field is going to get a bad rap for it.
That makes so much sense, yeah.
So it's like, but maybe now that it seems like that it's coming around to becoming an official science, which I've always thought that it should be an official science. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, that makes total sense. If I could explain it as my process to actually communicate with the other side, what I do can actually save UC Riverside time and money. I do it today manually.
Yeah.
My process is I record the EVP or what have you, amplify it 500 to 800 times, replay it, and there they are. Now, whatever those frequencies are that the microphones hear in, that's where they reside. That's the sweet spot, so to speak.
Right.
That needs to be focused on.
Right. Now, I'm sure your process came through trial and error, correct?
Yes, it did.
Okay. So, now how long did it take you to get to like delve into this research and actually, start getting into it, start fidgeting around with whatever program you use to enhance the volumes and the frequencies and everything?
Well, right after I started hearing the voices, I actually first recorded one on my cell phone. Other than that one particular recording, it took roughly about 2 weeks for me to be up and running to what I'm doing today.
Okay. Now, what program do you use by chance, if you don't mind me asking?
No, that's fine. Let me just double check the name here. It is WavePad Sound Editor.
WavePad. WavePad's great.
Yeah, that's the one I've been using ever since day one.
Yeah. I use WavePad, and if not just speaking to you, but just speaking to anybody that's listening. Um, I also for all my EVP analysis right now, I use Adobe Audition. I mean, if you have the extra scratch, it's great to drop the money on. There's just so much you can do with it.
Really?
And yeah, the filters are so much more clear. Because when you use free software, but I mean, believe me, the free software is good. But when you start getting into all the filters, like the noise reduction, amplification, and things of the sort like that, sometimes it's a little bit buggy and glitchy.
Oh no,
With
I actually used the Master Edition, which was about paid for it.
oh,
It
okay,
does have everything on it.
okay, there you go then. But just I mean, I use the free version of it. But I actually wanted to purchase a professional sound recording equipment, and I got the Adobe Edition. So and
Oh, I have to look into that as well.
yeah, I mean it does pretty well. I have no problems with it at all. That's actually what we're recording on right now. but um, so now it's not just you living in the home. You have a family as well.
Yes, I have a wife and two daughters. One daughter just graduated this year, and the other one is 12. She's actually snapping shots right now as we're talking.
Okay. And and we were speaking earlier, and you said your 12-year-old. She's very into it.
Yeah, she's I guess you could say into the paranormal as well. She has witnessed things, heard things. Actually, the Twitter profile picture right now that I have posted, she actually snapped that shot a couple days ago.
Okay.
And it's the clearest evidence that I have so far of an orb, the face being inside of an orb. And
Yeah.
I'm going to post that complete picture on my website then.
Okay. Now, so now how has the activity going on in your home affected your family life?
Well, for the most part, when I first started, my wife thought I was going crazy. She thought I was going loony at the time.
Uh huh.
But here's the deal today. I go away on work, business. I'll be in another state or something. I'll call home to see how she's doing. And she'll tell me she's been laying there and has felt something or someone brush her hair softly. She's heard conversations going on that probably had nothing to do with her. She just happened to hear some residue.
Right.
For her, she's got more of a grasp on it today. She accepts it. Yeah, it was hard for everybody to grasp it.
Oh yeah, I can imagine, and especially your younger daughter. Now just out of curiosity, theories are that children are more apt to see spirits because they're not desensitized, from all the oh, there's no such thing as ghosts and blah 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 blah. So do you think your daughter can see more than you can see?
As far as vision, I would say no. She has seen a few things. I have seen a few things. I've woken up in the middle of the night to use the restroom. Took two steps, turned around. There's a red orb floating in like a 45-degree trajectory downstream, and it disappears. There's been many things that I have seen. There are a few things that she has seen. I wouldn't say she's more apt to see anything now.
Okay. So, safe to say your whole family now don't think you're crazy, right?
No, well, unless a ghost comes up and actually takes one of the girls up and sets her on the other side of the room. There's
Right,
still that skepticism here.
right. Okay, now, so you told me when we had a conversation earlier, what do you talk to the spirits about? What do you do to get them to interact and respond on such a level that they do with you?
Okay, for instance, one of the ways that I do record, I like to call it a daytime recording, which is basically that I'll be here during the day and I'll just start talking to whoever's here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I do talk to them, I can't hear them most of the time for the most part, so I have to play the recording back to get the answer for the question I'm looking for.
Right.
But several times in these recordings, before I even ask a question, you'll hear mumbling and conversations going on in the background. Now, they have admitted, and this recording is on the website right now as well, that they do admit to speaking about me as well, which
Mm-hmm.
is me talking about them and them reacting to me talking about them. in return, they do speak and comment about myself here. They mention my daughters. I do hold up objects and play what's called a trivia game with those here. I'll point to my TV. If you have direct TV, when the power's on and you're not using it, there's a default screen that the direct TV insignia that bounces around.
Right.
I'll ask them, what does that say? And they'll read it clear as day, direct TV. And these are things that I can't see that are actually reading this.
Wow.
Like I said, I'll hold up objects. I'll hold up my baseball cap. I'll be wearing it. And I'll point to it and ask them, what is it for my head? They'll say a ball cap, which caught my ear because I would say cap. I would say baseball cap. But the gentleman, the male entity that answered, he said ball cap, which shows me another generation, somebody older than me.
Yes.
Use that term. And I thought that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another example, I had a dinner table dropped off here a couple of days ago. I asked him, before the gentleman gets here, I'm going to test you guys after he leaves. I want you to tell me how many people came and what nationality he is. So the table came, it was set up, the guy left. I asked entities, I told him I was going to ask a question, somebody gave me the answer. They said he was black, and it was one person.
Wow.
They were correct. The guy was Jamaican.
Huh.
And that just really floors me when they're able to do that.
Oh, absolutely, man. And, I think I've been trying to open up different avenues for myself and my team on how to communicate on a more personable level, on a more real level, instead of just going into some place and saying, is there anybody here with us tonight? Like, I don't know that's one of my pet peeves. It completely irritates the living hell out of me. Well. It irritates me.
Here's my thought on that. You have Zach Bagans and Ghost Adventures or what have you. Goes in, ridicules, likes to talk a little smack to try and get these spirits to jump. Now, that's where I think it's wrong, because I think the key for me here is I have a relationship.
Yeah.
We talk all the time. I talk to them like I'm talking to you right now.
Right.
I treat them with respect. That's what they want.
Yep.
They will talk back and forth. They'll request music. There's a recording on the website as well. It's a entity did ask me to hear a Marvin Gaye song. So I went online and I played Marvin Gaye for them.
Wow.
As I'm playing the song, I did the recording and I go, well, this is the Marvin Gaye song you wanted to hear. And you hear a male, if he just speaks out loud and says, that's noise.
Huh.
He didn't like it, but one of the other entities requested it.
Right.
Yeah, there's a song called Disco Man that I have never heard in my life before that was requested, and it's a song from the early 80s. And I play that, and they thank me for it.
Wow.
Clear as they say, thank you, sir.
Wow, and see, this is stuff that you don't hear. This is stuff that you don't hear about. You having this experience and having these intimate interactions with these spirits, you don't hear about this. The only thing you hear about is, little types of words here, little types of words there. Maybe a partial sentence or so, and like a little tiny whisper or whimper or something like that. These spirits and entities are actually coming out, and they're interacting with you on a very personal level, asking you to do things for them.
Yes, they are.
That's just absolutely,
absolutely
amazing.
I did explain to them that, yeah, they're passed on, dead, deceased, or whatever you want to say. But the beauty of that for them is they still have limited access to the physical world through me.
Mm-hmm.
They understand that.
Yeah.
Now, here's another thing. There's another male here that asked me to find his son, Adam. Now, granted, I need more information than just Adam.
Right.
But the point is, he was able to remember who his son was, his name, and to think to ask me to find him.
Right.
I mean, how much more intelligent can you get?
Absolutely. That's so amazing. And I think a lot of people that are going to be listening to this tonight are going to be floored. I mean, what advice would you have to give to a paranormal investigator that is actually out there trying to communicate with spirits?
The only advice I could give him is if they can bridge the gap between here and the other side based on an actual relationship, that would be golden for them. That is my key here. If I wasn't living here for so long, haven't interacted with these for so long, they wouldn't be talking to me.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you walking into a new school, a new building or some sort, and walking in not knowing anybody.
Yeah. Right.
You're not going to say anything.
Yep, exactly.
Same concept.
Yeah, absolutely. And so do you think that they're that it's, you know, they're trying. No, I'm sorry. Let me scratch that. So, you know, the spirits. I mean, they're trying to contact you. Okay, so you formed a relationship with them. So, you know, I mean, okay, so most paranormal investigators and groups out there, you know, I mean, they go into a place for one night, maybe two or maybe three if they're lucky, to go in and do extensive research on the place. But, you know, we don't have a lot of us don't have the ability to, you know, form a relationship bond with an entity or a spirit to try to interact with them on that personable of a level. So, you know, so what do we do?
I'll tell you what. Spirits are not just limited to being in one house. I believe they're in every house. I've gone to my mother's house and spoken to them. There's 20 in her house. There's 10 here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that being said, where you're sitting right now talking to me, you're not alone.
Right.
Now, how long have you been there?
How long have I lived here?
Yeah.
Going on 3 years now.
Okay, they should know you somewhat by now. They've seen everything you do.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, if they're watching like that, you know, I mean, absolutely. You know, but the whole thing is I've never, you know, because I do investigations all the time. I never even, it never even really crossed my mind, you know, to put on a recorder and try to interact here. I mean, it just.
Yeah, there's got to be entities there, and for whatever reason, I don't know why, but they are indoors for whatever reason.
Yeah. Maybe
they are outdoors, but the majority of them are indoors.
I mean,
now,
maybe
here's one thing they did mention to me on that side. They do have days and nights like we do here,
mm-hmm.
which is interesting. They're able to tell time.
Right.
They know what time it is.
So now, have you ever asked questions
yes.
concerning their life?
Yeah. I've asked questions pertaining to their days. They have not really jobs, but they have duties that they have to perform every day.
Uh-huh.
They're aware of the time. Day and night is the same as here. They are aware of the people that they left behind. They want their existence proven. And I told them if this ever went anywhere, they would prefer a bigger house. All this is on audio. I mean,
that's
it's
great.
all real.
That is great. That's so awesome.
It is. I mean, our relationship here is not just human ghost. It's more of a joking around type, relaxed atmosphere.
Right. It's almost a human interaction. It sounds like.
It is. I mean, they know that they're dead and that they passed. They know that I'm still here, but it's great because we both interact with that same respect. Now, don't get me wrong. When I first started hearing everything, they did scare the crap out of me.
Oh, I can imagine.
I had entities come into my room, call me by my first name, and as I'm hunkered down in my bed, shivering, they're walking off chuckling.
Yeah.
Now, that scared the crap out of me back then. It doesn't scare the crap out of me today, and I've asked if they were trying to get a hold of me. They said, no, we were trying to scare you out of the house.
Uh-huh.
Which is, you know, too bad for them. I don't scare easy.
Right. So I mean...
But now, thanks, Mello.
Do they, have you ever asked them anything about their relationship with you, if they consider you a friend?
Not in those terms. I never asked if they consider me, quote-unquote, a friend.
Right.
They do say they love me, they like me, and for lack of a better term, the spirit guides that I do talk to, the three that are with me, I have 2 male, 1 female. Now, I can go anywhere and sit there in my car and have a conversation and do an EVP. All 3 of them show up and ask questions and give me input, which is a fascination of mine because they do influence every decision we do daily.
Right.
Most people have 3 to 5. I have 3. This is what makes up your different facets of your personality.
Uh-huh.
Now, those 3 speak all the time as well. They don't speak a lot when we're here, but they do speak a lot when we're out on the town.
Okay. Now, okay, so, with Project Wraith, okay, what is your goal?
My goal is to prove other existence and the afterlife.
Okay.
Right now, I am knocking on the door of the afterlife. It's there. We communicate back and forth. I do this manually. Somebody needs to, it can't be me because I don't know much about the technology. But if there could be software that can hear in those decibel levels, record, amplify 500 to 800 times, and replay it in real time, that would be unbelievable. It would be like picking up a phone and just talking to the other side.
Right. Yeah. Now, that leads me to the next question. What do you think about all the paranormal equipment?
A lot of it's great, but again, to me, it depends on what you're after.
Yeah.
If you're just after a simple picture, yeah, a camera's great. We're just using a small 35 millimeter digital camera now. And as far as recording, I use my cell phone. I use my laptop.
All right.
Things that are just handed to me.
Right.
The hardware out there is good. It just, again, depends on what you're looking for. Me, I'm looking for that two-way communication. This works best for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm able to produce it, put it out there, and air it.
Yeah, I've said it many times. When it comes down to evidence, everybody would like to have the full-bodied apparition, but when it comes down to evidence that you can get on a regular basis, EVP is the best, especially when you get very good responses.
Yes.
I
agree. Actual seeing apparitions. I've seen apparitions here. I've seen like 8-foot tall mist kind of running around the living room. My dogs noticed it before I did.
Mm-hmm.
But timing is key with that. I can snap a shot here and I'm not going to get anything. It's just you miss everything that does happen.
Right. Yeah. So, now with, you have your website, you have your Twitter account. So what, your goal is to show people that there actually is an afterlife. Okay.
Yeah.
So now do the spirits want this, or do they?
Yes, they do.
They do.
They want that bridge to be, that gap to be bridged.
Right.
They want to be able to speak to the people that they left behind on my side or your side, the physical world.
Right.
I'm able to speak to them on their side. Now, everybody just needs to put their hands down and focus on the actual subject here, bridging that gap.
Yeah.
The technology is there. I don't know how to piece it together myself. I need help doing that. But the process is there.
Right.
It's being done manually.
Yeah. They I've had, why we got the group together in the first place was I lived in a haunted house when I was younger, and very interactive spirit. I don't know if it was more than one or whatever, but it was very interactive. I heard it all the time. I heard it speaking, moving things around, things of the sort like that. But it never really. I don't know. I think it was probably because I was younger and I was scared, but it really never got to a personable level. It was almost like the poltergeist, that was coming to attack the child,
Yeah.
So, okay, so what do you think about, negative entities and things like that? Is there, do you think that there's negative entities?
I sure do.
Or do you think
That
it's
being
just,
said,
or do you
yeah,
think it's
it's
just
kind of like,
people that are pissed off in the afterlife, just like they would be here?
I think it's both. I think just like over here in the physical world, you have good people, you got bad people. It's the same on the other side. You
Yeah.
got good spirits, bad spirits.
Right.
Now, when I say that you keep your memories going into the afterlife, I think that is true. Everything that's been mentioned to me has come off of memories from them.
Uh-huh.
The objects that we play games with, they're able to pull those answers because they've seen them before.
Right.
They see and hear everything we do. I'm sure they're listening to what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So, I mean, it's just absolutely fascinating. I mean, and we actually, one of our previous homes that we owned, my wife and I, we had a spirit that would always, I mean, the kids, we have 2 8-year-olds, a 9-year-old, and we have a 3 month old. I mean, I'm not, sorry, not 3 months old, but 8 months old. Um, but the oldest boy, he would always talk about a spirit. He would see a shadow like crossing in front of his door and everything. And in the house that we lived in, it turned out that the previous homeowner had passed away in the kid's bedroom, actually. And so they were seeing this apparition all the time, and they were afraid of it and stuff. So I brought my team out. And we did a little investigation, just to try to interact. And I asked the question that if it waits to, for the kids to go to bed to start being active, and it said leave the children be. And I don't know really what that meant, but I mean, that was a interaction to me concerning the children. I don't know if the spirit was concerned about the children, or if she meant that she was leaving the children be, or what. I'm completely unsure about it, and I wish I would have actually done more research in the house, but we didn't. We just kind of like enjoyed the stuff that was happening, and didn't really
Yeah.
get into it too much.
People that I've told of what goes on here with me have asked me, have you looked into the property history, things of that sort? Yeah, I'm limited to how far back I can go. But here's another thing. Some of the entities here have told me, and again, this is all down on audio, that one of them's been here for 28 years. And that's the one that requests the old songs from the early 80s.
Right.
Which is fine. But what caught my ear was one of the other ones who says he's been around for over 1,000 years.
Wow.
What is he? That's my question. Yeah, I didn't think about asking the question until later, and I will on another recording. I need to ask, where is he from?
Yeah, really. Jeez. 1,000 years old. That's nuts.
Well, not so much 1,000 years old, but he's been around for 1,000 years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's... Whew. Just imagine all the things that spirit could tell you. Jeez, oh man.
Yeah.
Now, do you, when you do these EVP sessions, do you actually call a single one out to speak with?
No, I'll tell you how my daily routine whenever I do an EVP. I'll walk around my house and go room to room, telling them all, I'm going to do a recording, so whoever wants to get in on this, meet me in front of the TV in the living room.
Uh-huh.
And I walk around the whole house saying that. As I'm doing this, my hair is standing on end. It just pops up, and I can feel the energy.
Right.
So, and then by the time I come over here, well, it's starting to happen right now a little bit. As I come to the living room, I'll tell them, gather around. We're going to talk. We're going to do some questions, play trivia games. The last time I did this, played a trivia game with them, I started off my recording. I turn on the player with a cell phone. It's recording. I'll ask a couple of questions like, who's here? And you'll hear a male say, I just said something into the machine. And I'll ask him to say something, and he says, I just did. And then I'll say it again because I can't hear them. So I'm kind of like repeating the question.
Right.
And when he answered it, he sounds a little agitated, a little irritated, like because I didn't hear him the first time. He said, I just did. And I go, okay, whatever, when I was listening to it. But right after I said that, the female that comes around every now and then, she asked me, and I heard this with my plain ears. She says, "Are you going to play with us?" Now, when she said that, I looked up because I didn't expect it.
Uh-huh.
And I go, "What was that?" But that particular recording is on the website as well because it was pretty amazing. You hear me go, "What was that?" Right after she heard it. I mean, right after she said it.
Right.
You can hear it clear as day. She does ask, "Are you going to play with us?"
Mm. Wow. That's crazy. So, I mean,
Here's one other thing I want to talk about real quick, if
sure.
it's possible. The three different ways that I do record, one of them is entitled morning recordings.
Uh-huh.
Those are the recordings where I let the recorder run as I'm getting ready for work, which they seem to be pretty active early hours of the day, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Now, these are recordings where they're commenting on the day, they're commenting on things we're wearing, and the question for them is, how can they wear that in life?
Huh.
Now, that's telling me they know the difference.
Right.
The other thing is daytime recordings, and that's when I'll just walk in and start asking questions and get the answers, play it back and let them know I heard the answers. So, like, I'll ask, what color am I writing in today? They'll tell me it's red. I'll play it back and I'll tell them, you guys are the best. You guys got the answers correct. And yeah, whoever answered that about the red ink, you are correct. That type of interaction they like.
Right. Like the positive comments and things like that.
They like the positive comments back to them, like when they get something right or do something right. They like that.
Yeah.
The recognition like this.
Right. Right.
The nighttime recordings. Now here's a whole other subject that may spark a couple questions from you. I have reason to believe that the subconscious is linked to the afterlife.
Right.
Now, let me explain why. I set my automatic recorder to record 1 hour during the night from 3 to 4 a.m. Now, that recorder sits next to me in my bed.
Uh-huh.
So while I'm sound asleep, everybody's sound asleep. It records men, women, children. One of my recordings, there was an old gentleman. He kind of sounds like an old slave type, like servant of some sort.
All right.
Singing to a baby.
Oh.
Now, during this recording, the baby reacts as well. I'm the only one in my daughter's room asleep. Now, that 1 hour picks up everything. You'll have, actually I have this posted as well, entities telling me not get out, but their term is move out. And they're pretty adamant about it.
Wow. Jeez.
So I've asked them when I'm awake, do you guys speak to us while we sleep? Their answer was, yes, we do.
Huh.
That alone is a whole other subject, but not everybody knows about that.
Well, see, that's
if you have an automatic recorder, set it between the hours of 3 and 4, play it back and see what you get.
That's just absolutely amazing to me because, are they speaking to your subconscious?
They're speaking through you, using you kind of like a speaker, if you will.
Right.
They talk to one another, but yeah, they're speaking to you. And here's the thing: I'll have two of them sitting there talking, and one of them says to the other, "Can you hear me talk?" And the other one says, "Your turn is up. Like, get out of the way."
Right.
It's my turn.
Yeah. Wow. And see, but the whole thing. I mean, it's almost creepy. That you're laying there sleeping. And there's things speaking to you. I mean, you almost got to wonder if that affects your subconscious mind at all. And that you wake up in the morning and you're like, and like whatever these spirits are speaking to you at nighttime while you're sleeping, if that gives you like a drive to do something that day that they spoke to you and you don't even know it.
That's possible of all these suggestions, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree, and yeah, it is a little scary because they do use your body or voice box for lack of a better term.
Yeah. It's almost like they're speaking to your subconscious mind.
Exactly.
You
need to actually review the night recordings on the website. It's a pretty interesting thing. I have a couple of the youngest girls that I've recorded. I'd have to put a number on them. I would say they're 7, 8 years old. One of them asking me, "Isn't it cold?" And you hear her voice come in and out of my snoring.
Huh. Wow.
Honest. You'll hear. Well, actually, clip it so you hear like maybe 4 or 5 breaths,
All right.
and you hear me snoring, and then right where the snoring was, for that particular breath, it's like a little girl.
Huh.
And then it starts all over again.
Yeah.
There's
See.
more than 5 that actually have posted. There's a heck of a lot more.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever? Nah. Okay. I'm not. I don't want to say. Have you ever? Now, would you? Okay. Say if somebody got a hold of you, and they said, you know, I think I have something going on at my house. Would you come over and try to interact with it for me, and see what you get? Would you do something like that?
I've only interacted with the ones at my mom's house, and the only thing that kind of wigs me out about that is what's actually going to be at their house. I'm familiar with what's here.
Right.
They know me, I know them. My mom's house, I mean, they weren't really adamant about having me there. And what was rather interesting was the entities that were with me. If you listen to the EVPs, they're mingling with the others at her place before I even said anything. Which kind of makes me wonder, yeah, in the physical world, you see whatever's there. But in the spirit world, the spirits that are with me, well, my guide, so to speak, would be interacting with whoever's house I'm in.
Right.
That being said, I mean, I don't know, opening up Pandora's box in anybody else's house.
Right. Okay, so
That's why I think that would wig me out.
yeah, no, yeah, exactly. I mean, I was just curious, that if somebody would get a hold of you, if you would want to take it to a different step and do some research in other people's homes and things of the sort like that.
I'm not really interested in doing research in other people's homes, but there are skeptic groups that want to test me, and I have been speaking to one of the skeptic groups out here in Hollywood.
Okay.
They want to test me because they want to come down and see what kind of information is here, what type of spirits, what have you, which is fine. Their test is basically going to be them coming in, showing cards, postcards of words and colors on them, asking the entities for answers, recording, playback, and me giving the answers.
Right. Yeah. No. And see, and this is the whole thing right here. Okay, because the paranormal field needs more people like you. Okay. Because you're actually doing research. You're not just going out to try to pick up evidence. You're actually doing research, and you're actually interacting and asking the deceased spirits, entities, questions about the afterlife, and they're responding to you. So I mean, of course, people are going to want to try to get their hands on that. I mean, it's just plain and simple. Like
right now, I'm just trying to create that buzz about the project, get that awareness going. I really don't want to just go to every Joe Blow and talk about it.
Right.
You are my first one that I've agreed to do any type of interview.
Right.
Now, that being said, you do have somewhat of a background in the paranormal, which is what I want.
Right. Well, and like I thank you so much for wanting to come on the show. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, I think people are really going to listen to this, and they're really going to dig what's being said. And I'm hoping that the people that do listen to it, the paranormal investigators that listen to it, they'll put some of these techniques in action, because like I said, it just irritates me so bad how people will sit there and say, "Is there anybody here?" and blah blah blah. I mean, if you're being called into a place, of course something's going to be there. And if your theory's true, they're everywhere around us. So of course there's going to be something there. And why are you asking?
There's something there, but again, it goes back to being in that place, that surrounding where you don't know anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
In life, everybody's shy.
Yeah,
they are on that side as well.
Yeah, and and it don't help, when investigators come in just walking into the place like a brute, and just demanding this and demanding that, and saying, "Come out here, pound on this 3 times," blah blah blah, whatever. It's like you said, it's developing a relationship, and my personal research and everything, I've been trying to get away from that type of interaction and start getting into the more personalization, and trying to be more welcoming to being spoken to.
Well, one thing that I did that could probably help you on that is before we had a full blown conversation and interaction going here, I did tell them, just speaking openly here in the living room, that I can hear them. I am aware of them, and they are aware of me. Now, several recordings, I would ask them to give me answers of things, and I'll repeat their answers to them, just so they know that me doing this process, they can be heard.
Right.
And once that was solidified to them as far as the interaction, now they just speak whatever they want to be spoken to.
See, that's awesome. That's just absolutely amazing. I hope the people will hear this, and I hope that that they'll start taking more of an interactive approach instead of just with the demand and the demand approach. I think that a lot of people go about doing it the wrong way, and I've been reading an amazing book. I know I stated about this book last time. Have you ever heard of John Sable?
No.
Okay, well, he's an anthropologist and archaeologist, and what he does is he goes to battlefields, like Gettysburg, Antietam, places like that where real bloody wars have taken place, and he tries to put himself in that situation, and he will actually spark. He calls it digging up the interactive past, because how he goes about doing it is he puts himself in that time period, and he'll act like he's a general or a soldier, and his group will act the same way, and they will actually dig up the interactive past, and there will be crazy EVPs of gunshots, wars, generals screaming, this, that, and the other thing, and it's an amazing book, and just some of the techniques that he uses to interact with these spirits is just absolutely amazing to me, and I've been actually trying to put forth some practice, into trying to get interaction the way he speaks of.
Well, the way that he's doing it there is kind of like what I do here with the trivia games.
Yeah.
I'm not using void uniforms and things of that sort to spark the memories from them. But what it is, I'm using a water bottle, a camera, whatever is around me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's sparking that interaction on their side. They're eager to answer.
Right.
They want to get that actual question right.
Yeah.
And for lack of a better term, I love to praise them for it.
Mm. Now,
they are there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They are there. What's your take on residual hauntings?
Residual hauntings. Residual to me means basically something that's playing back all the time.
Yeah.
I have nothing yet playing back all the time.
Right. So you've been doing it for 9 years.
Yeah.
And yeah. Now, but you're not saying that you don't think that there is a residual type of haunt.
There may be, just not here.
Right. Yeah. Because anytime somebody states about a residual haunt, I think of like battlefields and things of the sort like that, where the energy's just been like pretty much trapped in time.
Could be.
And it just plays over and over and over again. So, okay, but, a lot of investigators follow the residual, the intelligent, the demonic, the poltergeist. What do you think about all that?
Demonic, I think they are out there.
Uh-huh.
I got some pretty nasty ones here. Nothing physical, except for the one time they try to scare by flicking papers off the desk. But other than that, it's never been really things floating around, throwing around, or anything like that.
Right. Yeah, I
do think there are other aspects that do exist.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, and that's just, the paranormal field is such a broad, I mean, the paranormal field is not just ghosts. It's not just demons. It's not just poltergeists. I mean, there's so much out there. There's urban legends. There's myths. Bigfoot, UFOlogy, things of sort of like that. I mean, it's just such a huge, broad spectrum. I mean, the unknown has always completely sparked my fascination, but mainly with spirits and entities because I grew up in a home that was haunted. So that's what sparked the interest in me. And I don't know if a similar situation had happened to you, or if you just like walked into it. Is it did?
Well, let me explain something. You mentioned aliens.
Uh-huh.
Now, for me, there are recordings here that take place, like I said, they're not human, they're not English, not Spanish, although I do get some Spanish in here. I have gone into my bedroom. This is one of the first recordings that I've ever done. I set my recorder on my bed and I spoke out loud, and then you can actually hear this on the website it's posted as well. I called it Contact Made. Now, when I spoke out loud, I said, yeah, I've heard your voice. I know you're around. If you could, please speak into the machine as loud as you can so I can hear your voice. And I walked out. Now, I went to the restroom and I came back, and total time of the actual recording was 6 minutes.
Uh-huh.
Now, when I played it back, I was expecting maybe some voices, maybe ghosts and what have you. What I got was 6 different entities. I call them entities because I don't know what they were. What seemed to be speaking in phrases, clear as day. Like I said, make yourself known, and they sounded off, one at a time. But it was, I think, 6 of them, if I remember correctly. And after it was all said and done, you hear me walk back into the room, and then I cut that. But as I was coming back into the room, you could hear the low tone as I was coming toward the bedroom. This is the same sound that I had been hearing in the mornings cruising through the bedroom.
Huh.
I finally got them on audio, but again, I don't know what they are, who they were, or what they were.
Yeah. Right.
All I know is that I heard them; they were there.
Right. I mean, absolutely, there could be other things than just spirits out on the other side.
That I actually joke around about this place. I call it the 405, or actually the LAX of the spirit realm, because for lack of a better term, there's things coming and going here all the time.
Right.
A lot of them are undetected, but a lot of them are caught.
Do you think? I mean, I'm sure it's just the same as in the real world. Word of mouth. Maybe the spirits are saying, "Hey, that here's this guy. He's if you want something to be known, just go talk to this guy."
They are in a sense. I told you earlier that they do admit to talking about me.
Right.
That's posted too. You really need to hear that one. You'll hear me saying something, and then they speak up and say, "Yeah, we talked about you too."
So yeah,
yeah. I mean, they know of me.
Right. Oh yeah. And I mean, who knows how much you have coming into your house speaking to you. That's just absolutely.
Yeah, maybe there's a billboard somewhere in Afterlife.
Right. Big neon sign up above your house pointing down. That's amazing,
man. For what it's worth, I don't mind doing things within the law, I guess.
Right.
For them, if they want to request a song, I'll play it.
Right.
They like to watch the MMA fights with me. They'll comment on it's a no contest. The guy's good defense, or what have you.
All right.
And there's just a number of interactive things that go on here, and I don't mind doing it for them if it makes their life or state of being easier and better for them on the other side.
Yeah. That is just so cool, man. But hey, we're gonna have to wrap it up here. We're coming up on the hour. Time flies when you're having a good conversation, doesn't it?
Sure does.
But so let us know your social networking outlets. So if you want to give everybody your website, your Twitter account, so on and so forth, and I'll also put it on the website as well when I get it up.
Okay, yeah, I'll let him mention it real quick. The website is called The Wraith Project. That's spelled THEWRAITH Project at, thewraithproject.com. And then Twitter account's going to be at Project Race. And yeah, follow me. If you have any questions, get them at me. Let me know.
Great tweets. Great tweets too, by the way.
Bring the other side to the light. Let me know.
Definitely. And it has been such a great time having you on. It's been an honor. I love people on the cutting edge of the research. I absolutely do. And so if there's anything that you would ever want to talk to us about or anything like that, let us know. We'll have you back on the show. It's been a great time talking with you, man. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, and this was my first one, so I'm kind of nervous a little bit. But other than that, it was a good time.
Oh, definitely, man. So if you could just stay on the line for me real quick, and I'll wrap it up here.
Okay.
Thank you for tuning into the Westmoreland County Paranormal Podcast. As always, we thank you for listening. And, once again, just want to thank Project Wraith for coming on. It was an amazing time talking to him. And, like he said, if you guys have any type of questions on the research that he's doing, hit him up on his website. When we post the podcast tonight, I will have the link to his Twitter accounts and to his website as well. So once again, thank you for tuning in, everyone. As always, leave a comment, leave a like, share it on your social networking outlets. Everybody have a good night. God bless.